Hello, my name is Tahia, and the video I'll be showing you today is of my 10-year-old fjord horse Kava. I got him about 5 years ago. He was then actually going for slaughter because he was just too much to handle for most people, and nobody wanted to deal with him. So he ended up coming with me. Um, the first video we'll be showing some of the lunge work that I've been doing with him. In this clip he was a little bit stressed because somebody was doing some testing on the outdoor arena, so he was kind of a little bit unsure about what was happening and what I was wanting him to do, because he was just a little bit all over the place. But after a while he just kind of settled down and then started to work. We have been doing Art2Ride since last August. I came across one of Will's videos and I could actually checkpoint some of the things he was talking about regarding if your horse are having troubles with his back, hind issues, movements, not being willing to move at all, and saddle issues. I had all of these troubles with Kava, which might be strange because here in this lunging video he seems to be very energetic. He is very forward. He wants to work. He's very positive, and yeah, here he is showing his best side, which I love. I love it when he's like this. He is usually he will stretch more than he is doing right now. It gets better as we go in this video. That's just because of all the action that was happening. It's just outside the video, so you can't actually see it, but that's why he is kind of stressing a little bit forward. So I had already warmed him up a bit before we started doing some of the lunge work here, so we had already been trotting and walking on both hands before we started, and doing a little bit of walk in hand, so he was warmed up and ready for doing some of this. So this is usually his best side to lunge. He is definitely right hand strong, or maybe I am right hand strong. So usually this is his best side to lunge. What I like here after the canter is that he is much more willing to stretch forward, and he also is tilting his nose forward, which usually he does have a tendency to kind of get behind the vertical. For being a draftier type of horse, he is actually really soft in my hand, and he was driven before he was ridden, so I think with that he kind of learned, or had a hard hand hold him behind the vertical when driving. So I think that's one of the reasons why he tends to curl up if I hold him a little bit too much. So it's really nice to see him stretch forward after the canter and wanting to get low. Even though here, even in the canter here, you can see that he is thinking about stretching. He's doing it a couple of strides, and then I'm taking him back down to the trot as soon as I see that he is trying to stretch for a couple of steps, and then rewarding him with letting him ease back down into the trot, which is a much easier gait for him right now. Here he's nice. He could stretch even better, but he was stretching nice. So as you can see, he was really being cautious about the people in the corner, because when I asked him to stop, he just went for a complete halt. no walking, no nothing. He just stopped immediately. So he's usually really good with the lunge line, but usually it's not that. He doesn't stop that quick. So That's fun. That was fun to see. Um, I have been having so much fun taping these videos for the last um, 2 weeks or so. I've been doing a lot of videos and been looking so much forward to being a part of the associate trainer team. So I really wanted to capture some videos showing the different things that we've been doing, and of course I wanted to show Kava's best side, but I also wanted to show some of the things that we are struggling with, because we do have um, some things that we really need to work on, and I love getting feedback. So really looking forward to getting some feedback on what to keep working on and what is already good. So here we just switched sides, switched reins. So this is usually his, well, maybe not his weaker side, but he tends to tilt his hind end towards me, and his shoulder kind of, his outside shoulder kind of pokes out. So I have to be more cautious on this side to actually help push his hind end out, which is not so, it hasn't been so easy with him. He's gotten better with it. In the beginning, he would just run me down on the lunge line. He didn't have any respect at all. As you can see here too, he's a little bit stressed about the people over there. They just started doing some digging in the outdoor arena. So this is really unfair for his sake, because he's kind of he's stressed and he's running a little bit away from me. And right here I'm just giving him what he needs, and what he needs is to get some energy out. So I'm not pushing him here at all. He just decided that he wanted to canter. And since usually he thinks canter is the toughest gait, I just kind of let him go with it. I was just saying, okay, if you have the energy, if you want to do it, fine, let's just canter on. And then I took him down into a trot right there. So that's, I asked him for that. I was kind of telling him, okay, that's enough of running around. So here he's back into the trot, still very energetic, but his nose is pointing forward, and he is again starting to think about the stretch, how to get him down there, and how to calm him down is one of the things that I was thinking about when I was working him, because I was thinking that sometimes when you're out, there's going to be people there and you're going to want to work them even though things are happening. So that's what I was just doing. I was working him even though things were happening. So as you can see here, he is already kind of starting to stretch down, step better in behind, and use his body better. I really love his forwardness. It's really nice to see him being so just loose and active. And right here, his hind end isn't actually that bad. He's not tilting that much inwards. And his shoulder is also actually being very nice and straight. It's not poking. And he's bending really nice. So, and here I asked for a canter, which he responded really nicely to. As you can see right there, that's what he does. He kind of tends to overbend, and then he wants to come in. So that's where I have to be really active and be a little bit more active together with him. So as you can see, I sometimes even have to kind of run along with him, so I don't end up being too far back or end up being in front of him, stopping his motion. So trying to just stay with him, supporting him, and being active with him. He has been a very unactive horse, so this is really good for him. He is just super Kava right here. and I am just walking along with him, uh, feeding off his energy and trying to reward that he really wanted to work that good. So that was it for one of the lunch sessions that we had. There will be more to come where he will be a little bit more relaxed. I have some tapes of that too. So looking forward to showing that to you too, because he was really active here. So some kisses and some hugs after some good workout. So what I ended up doing, because he was a little bit stressed, and usually I don't do this with the lunge line. I would usually go and I would put his reins on and I would do a little bit of walk in hand. But he was kind of still wanting to do a little bit more. He he needed to stretch a little bit more and he needed to relax. He needed me a little bit closer. So what I actually just did is that I just took the lunge line in and then I walked him around on the circle. So all I wanted him to do was to stretch down, step in under himself, and get his nose in front of the vertical, and just see that nice stretch and that nice walk. And I also wanted to get control of that shoulder that keeps falling in, and then also wanted to push his hind end a little bit more out so I could get a little bit more of a bend in his body. So we kind of ended our session with kind of a halfish walk in hand, just to get him all the way relaxed down and stretched out. So, and I haven't actually done this a lot with him. I usually always have the reins on, but he was actually very willing to stretch. He is good at the walk in hand, so this was just something nice for him, so he liked it. So, a little bit of reward there and telling him that he was a good boy. So, this video is from another day. This is a totally different area. As you can see, this is my old barn, and sometimes I come back here. My trainer here also does Art2Ride, or I kind of took her with me to William's clinic last August, and we just both fell in love with the Art2Ride thinking. So this is her arena. This is a much smaller arena, which I haven't been used to for the last 9 months. And also there are 3 mares that you can't see that are just close to the fence line because they have their pasture just close by it. So in the beginning here you will see that there will be a Lusitano, lately gelded just like mine, coming into the arena, and she also wanted to work her horse. So I was very anxious about how Kava would react to that, because usually he just blows up, becomes this big and very unhappy and very stallion-y horse. So, but I just decided that I wanted to push through that. I was thinking that, you know what, we just need to get our job done. There is enough space for this, so this is just what we're going to do. So, as you can see here, he is doing very nicely in the walk in hand. He was having a little bit of a fit in the beginning because there was just so many mares, and then the stallion came, and yeah, so he was just didn't know what to do with his body. But then you can see he relaxes into the contact and really starts to stretch very nicely here. This has been one of the best things I feel about Art2Ride. I was very anxious about handling him on the ground because he was very bitey when I got him. He would bite me all the time, or he would try to bite me. And I would always try to stay away from his face. If I didn't have to be in that space area, I would just stay away from it, and then I would correct him if I had to be there. So, um, but this walk in hand has actually even more stabilized our relationship on ground. He has so much respect for me here, and he works really nicely when I ask him to step over. So walk in hand is definitely something that I do every time I'm out doing something with him, whether it's riding or lunging or just doing walk in hand. I always started off with this. I feel it's a good way of starting every session, reminding him that this is a comfortable way for him and it's a positive way for him. So as you can see here, he's kind of um, stressing a little bit because of the stallion that came in there. Or it's not a stallion, he's gelded, but he kind of wants to run over to him, and he wants to be this big, tough fjord horse. So I'm just not paying any attention to that. I'm just following on. Just keep doing what we're doing, ignoring the fact that he wants to be a bully, because that's what he wants to do. So I'm just doing what I do. Keep asking him to come down even further, stepping under himself, and just correcting him if he's doing something that is just not nice, like trying to step on my foot because he wants to walk over to that gelding right there. So right there you see that I'm correcting him, and that's because he wanted to run over to that buddy over there. What I did was that I just did a little bit of a bigger of a half halt and had him step in under himself right there, and then asking him to come down again, which worked out really nicely because he listened to me and started to work again. So, and here I think we are just going large, giving the other people some space too. Sorry about the shooting. It's not always as easy to get the entire arena. So here we are coming back into the screen. So the funny thing here is that you can really see the difference between activeness. When I get him to really stretch, he really does very nicely step in under himself. And I see that I have to be really careful about the fact that he kind of tends to get behind the vertical. That's something that I just have to keep in mind all the time, and giving my hand forward, so trying not to pull back. I think one of the main things that I really have to remember when working with him. So this is one of our tough sides doing work in hand. This is also the side where we struggle a little bit on the lunge line. As you can see here in the beginning, he really wants to come in on the circle. His shoulder falls on top of me, and I feel that I have to push him away from me all the time. The circle kind of gets smaller because I always have to push him out. And the day that I was filming this, I had this aha, like this, oh, that's how I'm supposed to get him to move away, because I've been trying to move him away by tapping him on his inside leg, like his hind leg. Like there you see that I'm trying to push him over, and I don't think with my 60 kilos that I can push 500 kilos over. Of course I can't do that, so that was just an attempt to try to make him to move. So the thing is here that I was trying to tap his hind leg to get him to move over, and it wasn't working. He just didn't want to respond to that because, of course, the hind leg wasn't the problem. The problem is that his shoulder is falling in, and then, of course, he's not stepping in with his hind leg the way I want him to bend. So here I tried a different tactic. So I switched the whip and had it in front of me so that I could support and get his shoulder off me. So you see him reacting like that right there because I tapped him on the shoulder, and he really didn't like that. And then I did it again right there because he wasn't responding the way I wanted to. I wanted him to move away, not step onto me. And I think that I was thinking that this is a respect thing. The fact that he tends to walk all over me, and I don't like that. Like that. You see that he just kind of, his shoulder just kind of went towards the inside, and he kind of pushed me away. But then, and this is where I had my aha, my epiphany that I was doing something wrong, and I didn't know what it was. But then I switched my whip over again, and I was thinking about the videos that I've seen Will do in the beginning, where you teach the horse to do walk in hand, where it's kind of important to have them move and step both in with the inside hind leg, and then also bending through their body and through their neck. So what I ended up doing was that I ended up lifting my arms and actually flexing him a little bit more to the inside to have him bend and then move his shoulder, and then his hind leg came where it was supposed to, his shoulder ended up where it was supposed to, and he didn't step on me anymore. So I was really happy with that, and this tape was recorded about 4 days ago, and I have been using this technique then since I taped it. And the funny thing is that I've been having the same problem with riding. He pokes his shoulders out or he falls to the inside. But then after being able to now correct it during the first warm-up 5 minutes of walk in hand, he is just so much more flexible now. It's like something was locked right there in his shoulder. I don't know what it was, but it's like something was locked there, and now that I actually got him to bend through his body and then to stretch down, it's just like something went like click. I was like, oh, now I can move. Now I can move my shoulder. So he gives me a little bit of a hard time right there, but then he's a good boy, and then he goes back to it. So it didn't take me long. I think I did this for, maybe I did it like 10 times, corrected him. A little bit harder at first because he just didn't want to listen. He wanted to fall to the inside. Then after that, I could just lift my arm a little bit, and he was like, oh, that's right. I forgot that shoulder again. I'm going to put that back in place. That's right. So that was just so funny to just witnessing it when I was watching the video after, and how I've been struggling with it for the last 6 months, and then just that one little thing, just bend him and flex him a little bit more, and then having him step, and then letting him stretch, then it's right where it's supposed to be. So I was really happy about that. So here I was really happy with what he was doing, so I ended the session. So here we're on to the mounted session, and as you can see, we still have company. The Lusitano gelding is still here. So Kava was a little bit didn't focus as well as I wanted to in the beginning, but he came around very quickly, so I was happy with that. Um, this is actually a trainer that has been doing a mix of an academic Baroque type style, and she was complimenting me on Kava because she was like, "Oh, his steps is so much better now, and he's so much more active, and he looks really good, and you've done a great job." And I was super happy that she could actually see it because I'd taken a couple of lessons with her before, and she struggles with the same thing with her horse. So um, we're hoping to get her over to Art2Ride. Because she's a really super fun lady, and she uh, she does see the benefits of what we are doing with our horses. Me and my trainer. That's what I'm talking about when I say we. And of course, Kava. So because there are other things happening in the arena, he kind of in the beginning he will maybe try to walk over to that horse, fall to the inside, push over to the fence line, and just try and test to see if I actually am focused with him. Um, so it does take me a little bit of time to get him to focus. So as you can see, we're having really funky weather over here in Norway because there was this extremely fog coming in and the wind was blowing, but it's actually like 20 Celsius. So it was really hot and humid. Really weird weather. So here I'm just working on the stretch. I want him to get even a little bit further, a little bit deeper, a little bit more stretch. And here he's starting to give it to me. He very responsive here. He really wanted to work, and he was very active. His mood was good, even though there were these three mares standing there watching us and wagging their tails. He was happy to do some work. And I'm doing a little bit of a shoulder end, trying to soften him up a bit. And then was doing a nice shoulder end right there. You can enjoy the Lusitano for a beat. Here we are back. And again, I was doing a little bit of a shoulder in there. Not too much. I was trying to keep him in the stretch while doing the shoulder in. And usually he tends to want to come up. He is thinks it's a little bit heavy doing both the shoulder in and the leg yield while still in the stretch. So he kind of tends to come up and want to curl. So that's where I just have to be very patient and just keep him forward, active, and just ask for the stretch again. So as you can see right there, that's what he does. He likes to curl up. But then he was good, and we did a little bit of a leg yield right there. Starting to warm them up. Usually takes a couple of times before he's in the game. Here we are back again. It's much better. Stepping in under himself. I'm preparing to change the rein. And it actually did take a little while before he wanted to stretch, really stretch and get down. There was just a lot of things happening here. but now when he comes, it looks very nice. A little bit of a leg yield right there. Stayed nice in the frame. Stretching, forwardness, really like that, and I was happy about my legs being able to stay calm and thinking about keeping those toes up. Doing a little bit of a leg yield this way. Kind of lost it there in the middle. I think mostly because somebody else was out there standing, waiting at the fence. And here we're doing a little bit of a shoulder in. And straightening him back out. Letting him stretch down again, giving him a little bit more rein. And again, a little bit of leg yield. So here I'm kind of picking him up, getting him into a working frame. Sometimes I feel that if I picking up into a higher working frame and then actually letting him down after, he will actually stretch even better, because that's when he realizes that, oh, really, I'd much rather stretch further down than walk like this for too long, because that's just too heavy for him yet. So sometimes I will pick him up and I will have him walk in a little bit of a higher frame for a couple of circles or a couple of rounds, and then let him stretch down again. And usually that kind of gives him that little bit of an extra push to stretch even deeper. Picking up into working frame, and a little bit of leg yield right there. So, and that's really nice. He kind of had some nice steps there, and I reward that by letting him stretch back down again, giving him the rein. And stretching even more. That's where I have to be aware of keeping my steady contact on the outside. Sometimes he will kind of tend to poke the reins a little bit out of my hand, so I think that's him trying to tell me that I'm not giving him the reins fast enough, that he wants to stretch. So I have to be aware of that, remembering to give quick enough, and also, of course, keeping the contact when he needs it. So we did a lot of work here today in the walk. Sometimes I will do a lot of work in the walk and then just some in the trot, like I was doing this day. Oh, nice crossing right there. That was a really nice one. I remember that one. I was really happy with it. And then other days, if he is easily stretched and easily bendable, and his body is ready earlier, I will start trotting and cantering him earlier on in the session. But today he was, well, there was a lot of things going on, and he was a little bit more stressed out, so I had him work a little bit longer in the walking and in the in-hand work. So fact that there is no horse right here, right now. Don't know how that happened, but I think in a couple of more seconds we will be back in the frame. Oh yeah, that's right. I got really warm, so I had to take my jacket off. So we're still working at the same. Here I am starting to prepare to getting him ready to go into the trot. He finally started to want to stretch even further, so it took me a little bit longer this time. And this is when my friend here, she says that, oh, you look so good and I really like that stretch. So I was talking to her at the same time when I was doing a little bit of that stretch work. So that was fun because then at the end here he was walking really nicely and he was stretching really nicely, and she asked me what I was doing with him to, you know, get his activeness, and I just told her all the things that I was doing that I'm showing here on the tape, and said that we've been working on this for a while now. So she was really positive, and she said, oh, it looks so good. And yeah, we're talking a little bit about her horse too, and some of the issues that she's been struggling with her horses. You know, you have these Lusitanos, and you think that they'll be all movement and energy, and Dardo here is just the opposite. He's been a lazy boy, and he's been not so easy to get active, but he's getting better now. So hopefully, if I can get to convert these two also over to the Art2Ride program, he will be even more active. So here I'm still just working him, trying to stretch him even further. And here he's really ready to start stretching. Finally, we had the arena for ourselves, so they were finished, and we could actually start doing a little bit more of a trot work. So usually in the beginning when Kava starts to trot, he doesn't immediately go for the stretch. He usually tends to come up into a working frame instead of stretch. So I try to encourage him to stretch even deeper. Before I started shooting this video, I had been trying different saddles since the clinic because Karen gave us some tips about that the saddle we had, that it didn't fit really well. So I've been trying a couple of other saddles, and then I tried one that I thought that would be a nice fit, but he kind of got more and more pushy every day, or we call it that they kind of get tight. So what I ended up doing was that I just ended up switching it back to my old saddle, and he just started to move better again. So during this session, you can see in the beginning he is a little bit tight. He doesn't really want to push forward like I usually want him to do. He's not that energetic. He is, and he doesn't step in underneath himself as good as he usually does. So it took me some minutes to actually get him to move the way that I like him to move, with a little bit more energy and a little bit more activeness. So but then after a while he started doing it again. So I'm happy about the fact that even though this saddle might not be the perfect fit, it's definitely better than many of the other ones that I've been trying now for the last couple of weeks. So, as you can see here, still wants to be in a little bit of a higher frame, a working frame. It's not ready to stretch all the way down. So I'm still just working here, just waiting patiently for him to want to stretch even deeper. There he comes a little bit. Did take him a little while, but when he first starts to stretch, it gets better. And then also, I was giving him a couple of minutes in the beginning to get his balance in place, because he seemed so unbalanced with the other saddles on that I didn't want to push his speed too much. So here you can see I am asking him for a little bit more energy, a little bit more activeness, which also helps with the stretch. So it comes better here when also the energy is better. You see, getting ready to stretch pretty nicely right there. This jogger. So when he starts to really want to stretch, his nose coming a little bit more forward, which is what I want him to do. To remember to keep my hands forward, making it a little bit easier for him to get into that contact without me holding him back. So that's really nice right there. So even though his stretch isn't as deep here as I would like it to be all the time, I do like his activity. He's working well. It was a nice ride, and he was pushing a lot up through his back too. So he was working here very nicely, and he was stretching even better as the ride went on. So here he is, nice, active. Should have had a little bit of a deeper stretch. Wants to come down sometimes, but he does have a little bit of a higher frame right here. So asked him for the walk right there, and decided that since his energy level was very good, I wanted to reward that with a little bit of a break. So I jumped off, and then I decided that since I didn't actually get that really, really deep stretch that I wanted, I was thinking that since we had the arena for ourselves now, that I would actually get him into an even deeper stretch by doing a little bit more walk in hand. So I usually don't do the walk in hand after riding, but since I didn't actually get that really, really good deep stretch, I just decided that I wanted to do a little bit more walk in hand after the ride, which you can see here was a really good idea, because then I really got the swing through his body and really got him to stretch and got him to relax into the contact. So I was really happy with what I decided to do right there, because the ride was a really good ride. He was happy, and yeah, I guess I did a little bit of a shoulder in right there. It's very nice. And just keeping him in the stretch hair all the time, and he was really, really happy to do it too. As you can see, here his nose is nice and forward. He's not curling up behind, stepping really nice under himself. Um, and his shoulder is where it's supposed to be. So when switching sides, wanting to work on both sides here. So I really felt that this was a really nice way to end our session, and getting that nice deep stretch at the end, since I didn't get that really, really deep stretch when I was riding him. Um, but I was really happy with the way he was stretching right here, and the way he was swinging and working through his back. So even though the ride wasn't that stretch wasn't that deep, we had a really nice session. We did a lot of good things, and we had a lot of things happening. The mares and the lately gelded friend that came in, but he was working very nicely. So I was really happy with him. So to say thank you for watching our videos, and I will be posting some more videos shortly of our work, hoping to get more videos where we can show what he looks like also when he does work when riding really deep and stretchy. So looking forward for that. So here we are getting ready to end our session. He was working nicely, and I was very happy with him. So some treats and lots of love. Very happy with this guy. It's my best friend. Thank you so much for watching.